Nobody likes to step in poop. Pet waste can spread disease and contaminate our water sources. Never let your dog roam freely to use the bathroom. And always scoop your pooch's poop and throw it away in the garbage can.
Thank you. Welcome to the May 20th, 2025 meeting of the Greensboro City Council. We are in the Katie Dorset Council Chamber. Let the record reflect that all members are in attendance. We will begin tonight's meeting with a moment of silence, and I would like us to be mindful of the family of Officer Michael Horan, who are with us this evening. Earlier today, out on the plaza, we had a police memorial, and I think many of us remember Jared Franks and, of course, Dale Nix. And if we would keep all of their families and friends in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. That was the police. Thank you. Mrs. Hoffman, would you lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I think Dr. Wells was saying that we should also keep the family of Cameron Cook in our thoughts. Cameron sat on the City Council for quite some time and was active in housing issues throughout our city. Kindly silence any and all electronic devices. If you must make or receive a phone call, kindly do so from outside the chambers. The City of Greensboro strongly encourages resident input at our meetings. It is the goal of the City Council that the Katie Dorset Council Chamber is a welcoming and safe space for all community members. In order to speak at tonight's meeting, individuals must sign up to speak by 6 p.m. If you have signed up online, you must let the courier know that you are in attendance. Speakers may address specific consent, business items, or Items with 3 minutes allocated for their remarks. For zoning matters, there is a 15-minute presentation, both for and against, and a 5-minute rebuttal. Speakers cannot relinquish their time to others, and the speaker order is determined by the presiding officer. Depending on the number of speakers, council may adjust the time allocated for each person. Any handouts must be given to the courier for distribution. Speakers are expected to follow rules of decorum. Any inappropriate behavior may result in removal from the meeting. Such removal will lead to an immediate 3-month suspension from in-person participation. In cases of physical altercation, suspension period extends to 12 months, and criminal charges may apply for those who are suspended. Virtual participation via Zoom remains an option to preserve their right to free speech. Zoom participants shall not speak until they are called upon. By statute, council members must vote on all items unless they have a direct financial interest. All votes will be moved and seconded, and the presiding officer will announce the vote total. We do have a consent agenda for items G1 through G18, which are a grouping of agenda items that are voted on with one single vote to expedite what is believed to be routine and non-controversial. Any council member may withdraw an item from the consent agenda due to a conflict of interest or for the purpose of voting no. Items removed from the consent agenda for discussion will be placed on the next business meeting agenda. Tonight's meeting does include closed captioning. Depending on the length of tonight's meeting, we may take a short recess around 7:30. Council has been requested to postpone item G13, 2025-401, resolution approving change order number 2 for contract 2021-49A in the amount of $864,144 with Samet Construction for the equipment services garage work to the June 3rd City Council meeting. Staff has advised us that additional research is needed and requested that this item be postponed. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Mr. Holston. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. And also the applicant has requested to continue H2, which is a public hearing for an ordinance annexing territory into the corporate limits for properties located at portions of 3527, 3739, and all of 3751 McConnell Road, 35.68 acres, Mary Bell Tuttle and others, and item H3, public hearing for an ordinance for original zoning for portions of 3725 and 3739, and all of 3751 McConnell Road, Amanda Hodiern for Mary Bell Tuttle, Neil C. Tuttle, and others, and item H4, a public hearing for an ordinance for original zoning for a portion of McConnell Road right-of-way for the City of Greensboro to the July 15th meeting without further advertising. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mrs. Hoffman, seconded by Dr. Wells. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that passes unanimously. It is now time for our ceremonial and presentation items. Item E1 is a resolution to honor the life of Greensboro Police Officer Michael Horan. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Whereas on December 23rd, 2024, the Greensboro Police Department and the community lost a hero and a valued community member with the passing of the late Greensboro Police Department Officer Mike Horan. Whereas Officer Horan was born on May 4th, 1980 in Fitzgerald, Georgia, served as a lifeguard and first aid cardiopulmonary resuscitation instructor in Beach Haven, New Jersey, and graduated from Northwest High School in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1998, where he was a member of both the wrestling and the football teams. Whereas Officer Horan began his military career with the United States Coast Guard in January 2000, served as a law enforcement officer, tactical fast boat instructor, a search and rescue operator, and was selected for Maritime Safety and Security Team 91101 in Seattle. Whereas Officer Haran conducted harbor defense operations in New York City and Washington, D.C. following the September 11th attacks. Throughout his tours of duty, Officer Haran was stationed in North Carolina, Virginia, Washington, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands, New York, and New Jersey, and led counter-terror, counter-narcotics, and counter-human trafficking missions. Whereas Officer Haran was recognized and highly decorated to include awards such as 3 Coast Guard Achievement Medals, 5 Commandant Letters of Commendation, 6 Good Conduct Awards, 2 Reserve Good Conduct Awards, 3 Special Operations Awards, a Sea Service Ribbon, an Overseas Service Medal, and was the Coast Guard's Enlisted Person of the Year in 2015 and 2019. Whereas he joined the City of Greensboro, North Carolina, Greensboro Police Department in September 2017, entered the 103rd Police Basic Introductory Course Academy, in February 18th was sworn as a City of Greensboro, North Carolina police officer and became a reservist in the U.S. Coast Guard. Whereas during his time with the GPD, Officer Haran served on the Violent Crime Reduction Team, Crime Against Persons Unit, and in Patrol Districts 2 and 4, was a member of the Special Events Team, and was an instructor for rapid deployment and active shooter training. Whereas while on family vacation at Emerald Isle, North Carolina, Officer Haran knowingly and willfully entered a riptide and swam 60 yards offshore to save a father and son from drowning. For such a brave and selfless act, Officer Haran was awarded the Life-Saving Award from the GPD and was also recognized by the U.S. Coast Guard for his heroism. Whereas Officer Haran was known as a dedicated family man and will be dearly missed by his family, friends, and colleagues. And now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Greensboro that the City Council wishes to express its condolences and offer its sincere appreciation and gratitude for the many years of service Officer Mike Haran offered to Greensboro and to his country, and that a copy of this resolution shall be delivered to the family of the late Greensboro Police Department Officer Mike Haran as a symbol of gratitude of the people of Greensboro for his dedicated service and contributions to the community, state, and nation, adopted this the 20th day of May, 2025. I would like to move it, Madam Mayor.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Councilwoman Thurm. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0.
I will now ask the family to come forward to receive the resolution. And Chief Thompson.
On behalf of the family, Father Mark, the mother here tonight, Patty, his sister, Maureen, his wife, Courtney, who couldn't be here tonight, and the 2 children, his stepson, Nate, and his daughter, Kayla, we just want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time tonight to recognize Officer Haran, not only his service to the community, but his ultimate sacrifice that he paid serving the community. On behalf of the Greensboro Police Department, thank you. It means a lot to our personnel, our officers, that you recognize the work and sacrifice that we do every day when we go out and try to serve our community. So thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to our consent agenda. We do have a request to, we have speakers on 3 items, G12, G17, and G18. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda? Moved.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to remove G11.
G11?
Yes.
So the consent agenda minus G11, G12, G17, and G18. That was moved by Mrs. Hoffman and seconded by Dr. Wells. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. G11 is a resolution to approve the sale of 213 and 219 South English Street to Johnson Construction Management, Inc. for $8,000. Mrs. Hightower?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't know if Mr. Johnson's here or not. I really just wanted to highlight the fact that these are 4 lots that have been sitting on the city's books for years. And the movement that we're getting now for the Redevelopment Commission and GHDP is that we are building houses that are very nice. They're improving the community. They're in East Greensboro, and this gentleman, who's a minority contractor, has already built 3, filled those with people from the community, which is what we want. And I wanted to highlight that this is the type of relationship and partnerships that we need to continue to create to help steadily improve our community. So I'm in favor of it totally, but it was on the consent agenda, and I really wanted just to make sure we understood what we're approving and why.
Thank you. Would you like to make that motion?
Yes.
Moved by Mrs. Hightower, seconded by Mr. Holston. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. At the request of Mr. Hartzman, G12 is a resolution to approve contract in the amount of $810,000 with Wallace Lee McBride, DBA McBride Lawn Care for mowing and lot cleanup services in various locations. Mr. Hartzman, you have 3 minutes.
George Hartzman, 2506 Bay Tree Drive. This is lawn care. It says various locations. And I want to address that within the context of the consent agenda and what seems to have been happening in it. On April 17, 2023, after the vote on the consent agenda, which Zach Matheny voted for, City Attorney Chuck Watts identified a procedural lapse. Zach voted to appropriate fund balance of sales tax revenue to the Special District Fund, which pays for Matheny's salary at DGI.
Is this relevant to item G12?
It is.
Okay.
I'll get to it at the end. Thank you. Watts said Councilman Matheny needed to be recused from the item after the vote as the conflict was not addressed beforehand. On February 20th, 2024, he voted for a downtown social district in the consent agenda. On March 19th, Zach voted for a consent agenda item funding a $325,000 downtown transportation study while leading an organization specifically focused on downtown development and improvement. On May 7th, Matheny voted in favor of the consent agenda.
Can you tie in how it's
This is
relevant?
all, it's coming.
Okay.
Please give me a minute. A minute 34. commercial lease for the benefit of his downtown property owner clients. He voted for the downtown trolley service, downtown remediation, downtown homeless shelter, and downtown greenway, all within the consent agenda, which nobody really looks at. On June 18th, 24, he voted for the fiscal year 24-25 annual operating budget, which includes appropriations for the special tax district funds, the performing arts funds, and the parking fund. He also voted to tax the business improvement district 9 cents, which funds his salary. So, getting to the point, voting to impose a tax that funds DGI and city budget that allocates that revenue, Matheny directly participated in the decision that impacted his compensation. As the vote established a precedent, the city attorney and Matheny recognized as a conflict between his dual roles. How could this vote to fund his income and other downtown items not be direct conflicts? Which leads me to this question. Do any of the various locations, are they located within the bid district?
I don't know if somebody from staff could address that. There is not a list of not a list of locations on the with our materials, but I still don't see how that would be a conflict for Mr. Matheny. I certainly have our legal department weigh in on that, even if it were to have a park in downtown.
Yes, it would make no difference. We've been through this. Mr. Matheny's compensation with DGI is not variable with the amount of revenue that comes into the bid. And therefore, and DGI itself has a fixed contract that has a fixed number on it. So improvements to downtown do not benefit directly DGI nor Mr. Matheny.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
So, Madam Mayor, I just want to say I'm a little disturbed how this was tried to be tied in. This is an MWBE who got this contract for 3 years at $800,000 for the 3 years. He does lot cleanup primarily for neighborhood development when there are issues around nuisance properties. He also cuts some parks and recs as well and does grass cutting for that, and in no ways does anything focused downtown. If you look back on his previous history, that's what Mr. McBride has always done. And so I really think it's really a shame that we tie this into this, because this is a black businessman who does a great business and has integrity of the work that he does. And to associate that with this issue is inappropriate and inconsiderate. And so I just want people to understand what this item really is about and how we use those services when we bid out contracts. And this is a chance where MWBs, who typically are excluded from a lot of work, have an opportunity to get this work at a good rate.
Would you like to move the item?
Yes, ma'am, I would.
Moved by Mrs. Hightower, seconded by Mr. Holston. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. Item G7, budget adjustments requiring council approval, 4/29/25 through 5/12/25. Mr. Hartzman.
Under 2406 executive, $80,000. Says economic development incentives, and there's a number, and it says $80,000. And then it says consultant services, $80,000. This is in the attachment to the agenda. So if you got an agenda coming in here, you have no idea that this item even exists. So does the economic development incentive of $80,000 that you stuck into a consent agenda it's like, what are you doing? You got an economic development incentive inside a consent agenda on a PDF attachment that basically nobody got. So, does any of this $80,000 that you're spending that no one knows anything about, because it doesn't say anything about it, have anything to do with any downtown business development district, DGI related issues? In other words, where's the money going to? It's 80 grand.
Mr. Davis, do you want to address very briefly on how this item is put together?
Sure. So the item in front of you, you're probably familiar with seeing every council meeting. You get a list of budget adjustments.
Stop the clock. Sorry.
You get a list of budget adjustments, some of which have been administratively already prepared, and we just want you to be aware of them. Some of them of a certain dollar amount you have to vote on. That's a council policy. It was put in place quite a few years ago. Towards the end of the year, these reports get lengthy because as we start to have different accounts getting short on money, we reallocate funds throughout the budget to get us to June 30. In this particular case, we now know, we have a good sense of what our economic development incentive payouts will be between now and June 30. So working with the ED office and Marshall Yandel, we were able to identify some appropriations that could be reallocated for another need. So this is not economic development incentive money going to anybody. This is an appropriation being moved to another account that was essentially running out of money.
Thank you. Would you like to use the rest of your
I
time?
assume everybody just listened to what was just said. And it didn't, what it comes down to is he just didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. If anybody can come up with a 10-second what he said, I congratulate you. What it comes down to is, what's the money for? What's the money for? Did he answer the question?
I believe he did. So if you'd like to continue.
Thank you for elucidating.
And then so I need a motion.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Council, please vote. Would you like us to do a voice vote? Ms. Pinder? Mrs. Thurm?
Yes.
Dr. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Mayor Zach?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Sharon? All right, that passes 9-0.
Now is up.
G18 is a budget adjustments approved by Budget Officer 42925 through 51225. Mr. Hartzman?
2390, Financial and Administrative Services, says miscellaneous, $25,000, and then it says consultant services. Does anybody know what that is? Stop the clock. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Does anybody know what it is?
Likewise, it's a reallocation of expenditures that council has approved, may have been over or under in certain line item account numbers, and so we're moving it from one account number to a different account number. It's pretty much basic
To
accounting.
pay for what? To pay for what? Okay. So 2388, it says transportation, and then it says professional services capital projects, $25,000, and it says land right of way. And then it says a BA is needed to fund annual contract with A&M Enterprises for downtown Greenway right of way. So can Zach vote for that? Or can Zach not, does he not?
The downtown Greenway, please allow me to speak. The downtown Greenway is not under DGI. The downtown Greenway is owned by the City of Greensboro.
In addition there too, these are budget adjustments, they're not contracts.
He's voting on it.
I get it, he's voting on the budget. The budget is not a contract. The statute,
appropriation.
It's not, if you look at the statute, it says contracts such as certain types of appropriations. No money's been spent here.
Doesn't say certain types of appropriations. It says appropriation.
It says contracts, including appropriations. So you can look at the School of Government interpretation of that language, and they narrow it to
I'm waiting
contracts.
for a memo, actually, for that.
Well, this is not
I've
the time
got
for
several
an argument.
Freedom
I think
of
that
Information Act requests in,
I
and I've
believe-
received nothing, and here I am. So if you don't mind, if you could get me the information I've asked for, I'd really appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there a motion on G18? Moved by Mrs. Thurm, seconded by Dr. Wells. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. We now move on to the public hearing portion of our agenda, item H1. Item H1 is a public hearing for an ordinance for rezoning for 4401 Rehobeth Church Road. Mark Isaacson, on behalf of Tufak Simon and Simon Brothers Holding, LLC. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name. Mr. Isaacson, and there are two speakers on this item in favor, Crystal Black and Cheryl McIver.
Your Honor, tonight we have Luke Carter from the Planning Department.
Yes. Mr. Carter, thank you. If you would give us an overview, please.
Yes, thank you. Item H1 is a public hearing for rezoning from R5, which is residential single family, to conditional district RM8, and that is residential multifamily 8. And it's for the properties located at 4401 Rehobeth Church Road. It's approximately 14.74 acres. This is the zoning map of the subject property, showing that it is again currently zoned R5, and the rezoning request is to go to conditional district RM8. North of the request is zoned R5 and R7. East and south of the request are zoned R5. West of the request is zoned R5 and conditional district residential multifamily 18. This is the zoning map showing that the property is currently undeveloped. North of the request contains single-family dwellings and drainage way and open space. East of the request contains single-family dwellings and common elements. South of the request contains religious assembly and undeveloped land. And west of the request contains single-family and multifamily dwellings. The future land use map in the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates the property as residential. And the future built form map of the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates the property as urban general. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant. And in recommending approval of the request, staff notes that, again, the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates the site as urban general and as residential. The proposed rezoning request supports the comprehensive plan's filling in our framework goal to arrange our land uses for a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM18 zoning district, as conditioned, allows uses that are compatible with the existing uses in the surrounding area. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Carter? Mr. Isaacson?
I'm going to wait till Mark speaks.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of council. I'm Mark Isaacson, address 804 Green Valley Road, here in Greensboro. I'm here this evening on behalf of the property owner, Saman Brothers Holdings, LLC, along with the contract purchaser, which is a home building group out of Raleigh. The current owner, if this is approved, will be the land developer, will create the subdivision of the lots, and will then sell them to a well-experienced home builder who will build them and sell them to third-party home buyers. Okay, so we have some conditions that we imposed on this. As you see, they're in the staff report as well. But essentially, this is a townhome development as proposed. There's a limitation on building height, essentially 2 stories. And in connection with work with GDOT and the staff, we limited vehicular access, and you'll see in just a moment where that will be. So as Luke went over, this is the aerial photograph. You'll see the property there outlined in red. You'll see the surrounding properties as well, the general area off of Rehobeth Church Road and near the interstate. The zoning map, as Luke indicated, I think it may be important for council to consider that there's a little bit of symmetry here. If you look at this property outlined in red, requesting RM8, right across the street, RM18 and RM8, and those also abut R5 zone properties. So there's, we think, a little bit of symmetry here that makes a lot of sense for this proposal. Next, for illustrative purposes, is a sketch plan. This shows the general layout of the street system, the townhomes, some of the amenities that would be included here. There's a large stream and natural area to the north, and those would be retained as undisturbed areas. So that's important for the engineering and the site planning to work around. There was a question that came up at one of our neighborhood meetings along with Zoning Commission about access. This is the only access onto Glendale that would be allowed under our conditions. This access drive is aligned with the street across Glendale, and that's the way GDOT usually likes to align those access points for safety reasons. This sketch plan did go through our technical review committee process, and I would say no red flags were determined, so that's what got us through the rest of the process here as we move through that and the zoning process. These are some illustrative architectural elevations. You'll see that the proposal is to have garages built in to the units, and then some representative illustrations of what the townhomes would look like. Lastly, we did have a neighborhood meeting in March, and a few people showed up. We went over some of the questions. I believe we addressed those questions. We also had some further conversation with other interested parties. I hope we addressed those questions. There may be some other questions this evening. Glad to address those. I think the bottom line here is that the property is currently zoned to allow approximately 73 single-family detached homes. The proposal here would allow approximately 98 or 99 attached homes, townhomes. So an increase of 25 or so units. It's a small step, but I think a right step in the direction to help us with our housing needs, especially in areas of the community that may want an option or an alternative type of housing. And we had, I think finally this meets several of the criteria that are set forth in our comprehensive plan about providing alternative types of housing, increasing housing stock, providing reasonably affordable housing, and creating options for home buyers in our community. With that, glad to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions for Mr. Isaacson?
I just had one. I think you addressed it already, and that was the entrance, the one entrance. How is that making sure? I know that was a concern, that one access point. Do you feel like that will be immediate traffic and
That's right.
any impacts?
I put the sketch plan back up here so we could look at that. But yes, our civil engineer and working with GDOT, I actually sent an email to Nolan Tipton today to give him a heads up that question may come up. So I'm not sure if anyone from GDOT might be prepared to address it in more detail, but this is the logical place for the access point. We've limited to one access point to control ingress and egress. It is aligned directly with Arta Lane across the street. And then when you look at the layout and what's on the ground, when you've got this stream buffer and the undisturbed area, along with some of the other topographical challenges, this we think makes a lot of sense. Our civil engineer proposed this. GDOT appears to have approved it, or subject to final engineering will approve it. And so we think that's the most logical location for that access point.
Yeah, I knew that was a concern, so thank you for addressing that, because that is a busy area, but we appreciate that. So no turn lanes and anything that would be needed, or
we're not certain yet about off-site improvements. That is subject to final engineering, and no traffic study was triggered by this kind of density. It's kind of low to medium density for this type of project, but we're subject to review by NCDOT and GDOT. Both agencies will review this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Cheryl McIver, 404 West Mount Council Drive. Only reason why this project was really appealed is because during the community meeting, we didn't really have a representative per se from the developer there to answer more detailed questions about the project. Mr. Blackwood was able to talk about some of the you can see the topography, you can see the lake that runs, the creek that runs behind it. It floods across the road. Things, as far as sight distance, they were able to kind of go back and help us with that. But that's the reason why this got appealed, is because we had to do a lot of back and forth through the attorney rather than being able to talk directly with the developer at the time of the community meeting. And so we still had lots of open questions when this went to zoning. We appreciate Isaacson's firm for bringing this type of development in this area. I would like to make a point to the city that when this is developed, there's site issues with where these cars are going to be going in and out. There have been deaths. There have been wrecks. I think there was a police chase in that area. So I would like kids walk to school. This is right near Allen Middle School. There's really no sidewalks there. So we're going to add 99 units, right? I don't know how many kids. I would like the city and have this on record to really take the opportunity when this is developed to see how they can also improve that area for these kids walking to school. They have to walk in people's yards. And again, it's a sight issue. So I don't know if you need a blinking light that says slow down or just anything. So please take that into consideration. I know they have to do some of their part, but there's going to be some onus on the city, I think, too.
Good evening, Council. Just wanted to mimic some of the things that Cheryl spoke about for the reason of our appeal, and also kind of highlight the difference in the interaction of developers in different communities. Our first meeting that we had, Nick, facilitated it well, and we always work well with Mr. Isaacson's office. However, the representative there said it was his first time. He wasn't familiar with the potential development. So when you have questions, especially us, when we come to the meetings, we're looking for having some back and forth negotiations and conversations about the development. We weren't afforded that, which is why we appealed it, but we were able to kind of work through that via email and conversations with Mr. Isaacson's office. But, when developers come, I would like for our planning and zoning department to express to them the importance of being present when the community meetings happen, because community members have questions. And so although Mr. Isaacson was the representative, having that developer there is important. I think about the development at Irvin Park and how many meetings BJ was willing to have with that community. And we'd like the same things. So I just wanted to uplift that. And again, we appreciate having this type of development in our community and not an influx of affordable housing, and hope that we can see more development like that in the future. I will try to also echo what Cheryl is saying about the traffic on Glendale Drive. I believe at the intersection of Rehobeth and Glendale, we have multiple wrecks. However, some of those have resulted in death. There was a police chase right where you see that stream where someone died from a police chase. So this street is, I don't know why a traffic study didn't qualify, but we need sidewalks. That is a heavily residential area. Kids go to school at Allen Middle School. The only way they can get to Allen is to travel down Glendale or through your Greenway. But other than that, there has not been any accommodations given to people who travel on foot, especially children. So do we want to wait until something tragic happens, or do we want to be proactive and look at this as a need on that street?
Thank you. Sharon, did you have a question?
No, not for Crystal, but for Mr. Isaacson. Can you address the sidewalk? The sidewalk, what your development will put in, and I do know, wow, Crystal and Cheryl, I do know that Glendale sidewalks are on the transportation list for 27 from Holden down to Randaman. There's a piece going in by Randaman, as from Glendale to Randaman, where the bus stop has been put in. But the other piece is all the way from Holden all the way down Glendale, but waiting on money, and it's on the transportation sidewalk list. That's hopefully coming very soon.
Yeah, I can confirm that as part of the site planning and process that the developer would be required to install a sidewalk on its property on the roadway as part of the requirements of the site plan.
Will that be along the Glendale
I believe along
area?
Glendale. Right. I believe that's right.
So, okay. So then maybe we need to go back and look at, because a lot of times when the developer puts them in, it leaves a pocket or a gap. Right. And then we need to start looking at how we fill that gap in. So that, because it is kind of it's a pretty busy road.
Hopefully a good start.
Yes, sir. So thank you.
And if I could chime in also, also very excited to see this type of growth in this community. Oftentimes it is something different, and this is going to be, and it shows an investment. And I think that it's this type of investment that's going to spur additional investments and help to build the infrastructure in the community. To the comments made by the two speakers, they're exactly correct. Right there towards the bottom of Glendale, if you look carefully, you'll probably see a cross. It wasn't just a little while ago that someone lost their life there. And then up at the intersection of Glendale and Rehobeth, there's another cross. And so it's going to be important that although you're putting in your sidewalks, the city's going to have to make its investment and put the other infrastructure, the other sidewalks. Oftentimes, there are folks who are leaving the Randleman Road Shopping Center with a shopping cart and will drag it all the way down and just dump it somewhere. Kids are on the other side of Rehobeth Church Road. There is Allen Middle School. There's a lot of activities, a lot of growth. There's a lot of future growth coming. So we need to go ahead and make the investments now so that that community remains safe for everyone.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, just looking at the GIS, and when we're going through these, I kind of live on this website. I third their comments. We make people spend extra dollars to build these sidewalks to nowhere, and we do it often. And even if you look on the map, the school system, which stubs it at a house near, I might pronounce this wrong, Donegal Drive. And then you cross over Donegal, Donegal. And then the city owns property, significant property. And then it looks like we have plenty of right-of-way to at least get to Rehobeth Church Road. And so instead of, the developer building it, which I'm fine, that's what's in our charter, let's go ahead and attach it using our property as well to the school. Get these kids off the street. That's our duty. And so to me, this is probably the most common sense sidewalk we could build.
Madam Mayor.
Tammy?
While I agree with you both, Lindley Road has been waiting for the sidewalk to their schools for well over 10 years. And so, I think I agree that we need that sidewalk and we need it built. But I've got kids going there as well as to Western High School, which is extremely dangerous because there are gullies on both sides, and we're still trying to get those sidewalks. So I'm not saying that I want my sidewalks before then, but I think we have to look at making sure that we live up to our commitments when we make a commitment to a neighborhood or to a school building that we're going to have sidewalks going there. We need to live up to it because 12 years is a long time to wait.
Well, I certainly don't disagree with you, Ms. Thurm. Vandalia's been waiting since 1998. Okay. And so people, the children and residents are walking along one of the busiest, curviest roads that's out there as well. But I think what we're saying is when there is development that comes and they do their part of putting in sidewalk, we need to start filling in that gap because it doesn't make sense for them to put a sidewalk and then you drop it off and they walk in the grass. They have to skip on the side of the road. And so if funding can be acquired for that, and to me sometimes when we have our transportation bonds, there's local dollars we can use. Some of the bigger projects have to wait for the federal funds or the state funds. But if there's local money we can start to use for that, we're showing accomplishment. We're hearing the concerns of the neighborhood. I certainly understand Lindley, and I think there's another area, Paige or someone else was asking too, as well. Gate City Boulevard's another one as well. But I think the quick wins are when we know we are working in conjunction with other developers who are doing already their part, that we can show how we can leverage what they're doing and do our part as well.
Right. And there's nothing to say that we can't focus on both at the same time. It's not one or the other.
No.
It's definitely working collaboratively. Mm-hmm.
Right.
No. Mrs. Hoffman, then Dr. Wells.
Yeah.
Sorry. Once we make those commitments to a sidewalk and we say we're going to do it, then we need to follow through in a timely manner, because I think 25 years, 12 years, whatever, that's that many years of kids we have walking on the side of the road or in the middle of the road, and we need to address that.
Right, and not to turn this back on the city manager, but when we have a plan of the road to 10,000 or road to 30,000, we've got to make sure that the infrastructure is there to support it.
It'll be Mrs. Hoffman, then Dr. Wells, but let me see, Mr. Isaacson, do you have anything left to say in the time remaining? So can we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So
Moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Mrs. Hoffman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Yeah, moving on.
Mrs. Hoffman, then Dr. Wells, and then Mrs. Abuzaweber.
I just wanted to say, and I think I talked about this, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks ago, the city manager. I've had this conversation in terms of prioritizing the infrastructure needs, and in this case, we're talking about sidewalks, but prioritize them based on need and also how long one school or whatever has been waiting. So I think this is really what we're saying tonight. So
I know a couple of you
one area jump over another.
I know a couple of you are going to speak on this, but we heard those comments, and I've had several. I've actually talked to Hannah and our other infrastructure areas. What you'll see later on as I talk about the budget and how we go into this next year, we will have a concerted effort to reprioritize where we see, so there just may be a path for both. I think, as you all noted, what the speakers said about the community, those are things that we're considering also. When we combine traffic safety with the needs that we have when we have growth or new housing, those are things that will fit right into where we're going to reprioritize our infrastructure efforts. So you'll see a concerted effort very soon as it relates to how we're addressing those.
Dr. Wells?
I was just going to put my bid in since everybody's talking about the long wait. Don't forget Nealtown Road. We've been waiting a long time.
Mayor Pro Tem?
And mine was for Battleground around the bus stops. New Garden and Westridge. And I know there's some things in the transportation projects for the state, things like that, hopefully trying to get more sidewalks. But and I don't know if Hannah wants to say anything about all the projects, but, you know, they are prioritized in a certain way. Sometimes we definitely disagree on what the state has designated, but then we talk about it with them, and sometimes if there's public safety involved, there's ways to kind of rush those up. So, you know, trying to make sure that every place has a sidewalk is actually one of the goals we've been trying to do, and I look forward to what the city manager is coming up with on the budget and trying to prioritize those. So thank you.
Any other comments or motion? Mrs.
Well, I want to make the motion.
Mrs. Hightower?
But I do want to say that those sidewalk projects are important. But if you go to Callumale Church Road right now, that was a project from 1998. And the people are so happy over there. They're not on the streets. They're walking down the sidewalk. The road infrastructure is great. So you see what can be done and how it really enhances that community. Totally. Has a total different look over there. And that's what we really need to be focused on as well, to get some of those places that have not really been served in a while, doing it more equitably, if you will, to build up over there so we can get the better projects too. So I just wanted to say that. But with that being said, I'd like to move the item if we are at a point where we need to.
So
we need to read the consistency statement. Give me just a second and I will pull it.
Yes, we just need a motion to adopt the ordinance. So it was moved by Mrs. Hightower and seconded by Mr. Holston. Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. We move up to items H5 and H6. H5 is a public hearing for an ordinance annexing
Your Honor.
Mayor Vaughn. Read the statement.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I haven't read the statement.
Please go ahead.
It's okay.
No, I must have read the wrong thing. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
The Greensboro City Council believes that its action to approve the rezoning request of the property at 4401 Rehobeth Church Road from R5 residential single family 5 to CDRM 8 conditional district residential multifamily 8. I think I'm reading the right one. Okay. Be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan future built form map and future land use map. The proposed CDR8 zoning district as conditioned permits uses that fit the content of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and original other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Okay, that has been moved and seconded. Council, please vote.
Mayor Vaughn, you voted already?
We did?
Yes, ma'am.
So we were just reading the statement of consistency into the record. Thank you. Item H5 and H6. H5 is a public hearing for an ordinance annexing territory into the corporate limits for the property located at 4115 Corbin Road, 10.605 acres, Harmonic Brass REI LP, for Daniel and James Kent. And item H6, a public hearing for an ordinance for original zoning of 4115 Corbin Road, Nicholas Riggins, for Harmonic Brass REI LP, for Daniel and James Kent.
Thank you, Mayor Vaughn. This is the zoning map of the subject property, which shows that it contains approximately 10.6 acres and is located west of Corbin Road and west of U.S. Highway 29. This is an annexation and an original zoning request, so there will be two votes at the end. And the original zoning request is to go from County RS 30, which is residential single family, to City Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18. North of the request is zoned County RS 30, County RS 30 MH, and the MH is the Manufactured Home Overlay District, and County Ag. East of the request is zoned County RS 30, County Ag, and south of the request is zoned County HB, County RS 30, and west of the request is zoned County RS 30. This is the aerial map showing that it's currently undeveloped. North of the request contains a manufactured home park, single-family dwellings, and undeveloped land. East of the request contains undeveloped land and Highway 29, and south of the request contains undeveloped land, and west of the request contains single-family dwellings and undeveloped land. The GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future land use map designates the property as residential, and the future built form map designates the property as urban general. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant. And in recommending approval of this request, staff notes that, again, the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates the property as urban general and as residential. And the proposed rezoning request supports the comprehensive plan's filling in our framework goal to arrange land uses for a more vibrant and livable Greensboro, and the Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM18 zoning district, as conditioned, would allow uses compatible with existing uses in the surrounding area, and the proposed density is appropriate given its location alongside US 29. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, and building height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the lower density residential uses on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions? We do not have any speakers on this item.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Wells, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. This is for the annexation.
And you
Council-
said, I'm sorry, just tell me the location one more time. You said beside 29?
Yes, ma'am. This
How
is,
far down? Okay.
it's pretty far north. There's a large manufactured home park on the east side, and it's,
Is that Oakwood? Is it
yes,
out there?
I think it is.
Oakwood
I think
down
it
there?
is. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. I was just wondering. Okay. But we're bringing in the city. So we're bringing in the city. Can we bring in the lights to go along 29 with it? No, but seriously.
Yes.
It's too far up the road.
Yeah.
Ready for me to leave?
So yes, the first item would be the annexation, and then the original zoning item. And I think we have a recommendation or a motion on the annexation as well.
This is the annexation.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Has everybody voted? Who are you waiting for?
Councilmember Hoffman, Holston, and Pender.
Hoffman, Holston, and who? Okay, we're good. 9-0. That passes 9-0. I need a motion and a statement of consistency for H6.
Move.
Moved by Dr. Wells, seconded by Mr. Holston. Dr. Wells?
The Greensboro City Council believes that its actions to approve the original zoning request for the property at 4115 Corbin Road from County RS 30 residential single family to City CD RM 18 conditional district residential multifamily 18 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed city CDRM 18 zoning district as conditioned permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limit a negative impact on the adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. We'll now move on to H7, 8, and 9. H7, Callumale Road, a portion of 3425 Randleman Road, and a portion of Callumale Road right-of-way, 7.27 acres, Barbara H., and others. And item H8, a public hearing for an ordinance for original zoning for 521 Callumale Road and a portion of 3425 Randleman Road. Mark Isaacson on behalf of Carlos Sanchez and others. And item H9, a public hearing for an ordinance for original zoning for a portion of Callumale Road right-of-way, City of Greensboro.
Thank you, Mayor Vaughn. This is the zoning map of the subject properties, and there are 3 requests. The first would be the annexation for all of the property that you see crosshatched here, and then there are 2 original zoning requests. There's the private property, which is POZ 25-20, and that is an original zoning request from County RS 30 to City CDRM 12. And then there's the portion of the right-of-way that lies between the project perimeter and existing city limits. And that is just the area within the Callumale Road right-of-way. And that original zoning request is from County RS 30 to City RM 12. North of the request is zoned City RM18 and County RS30. East of the request is zoned City CDRM12 and County Agricultural. South of the request is zoned County Agricultural. West of the request is zoned City Residential Single Family 5 and County Residential Single Family 40. This is the aerial map of the subject property. The property is currently undeveloped, and north of the request are single-family and multifamily dwellings. East of the request contains multifamily dwellings that are under development. South of the request contains I-85. West of the request contains single-family dwellings, common elements, and right-of-way. The future land use map of the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates this property, approximately half of it as commercial and the other half as residential. The GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map designates this property as urban general. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant. And I will note that at the April 21st, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this request 8-2, and there were 2 speakers in favor of the request. 8 to 0. There are only 9 people on the board. In recommending approval of this request, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates this site as urban general on the future built form map, and half residential and half commercial on the future land use map. The proposed original zoning request supports both the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the Building Community Connections goal to maintain stable, attractive, and healthy places to live and raise families. The proposed CDRM12 zoning district, as conditioned, limits permitted uses to single and multifamily dwelling types that reflect the developing character of the area around the subject properties. The uses permitted in the proposed zoning district are compatible with existing uses located on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for Mr. Carter? We do have Nick Blackwood here on behalf of the applicant. We do have nobody against.
Madam Mayor, members of council, my name is Nick Blackwood, 804 Green Valley Road here in Greensboro. I'll try to be very brief. I do have some materials I'd like to pass out if that's okay. So really just wanted to highlight a couple of staff's points. Again, I'll try to keep this very brief. I think we can breeze through the first slide. Just wanted to reiterate that this is going to be a townhome project, not a traditional vertical multifamily project like you see across the street and to the east of the site. So we've conditioned our application to permit pretty much everything except for apartments. Also have a zoning condition to use requiring use of a higher quality building material across a portion of the exterior facades. Just to familiarize yourself with this next slide, I think we can breeze past that, but you've got the white rooftop that you see to the east. That's the Walmart on South Elm Eugene Street. And again, just to highlight those existing multifamily projects to the north, the vacant land you see to the east, those will also be vertical multifamily projects. Again, the same point here on your next slide, just another excerpt from the zoning map highlighting that same point. We do have an illustrative sketch plan showing the layout at this point in time. This has been through sketch plan review. We did identify there's actually a scenic overlay along the 85 corridor, so we've made some adjustments to our sketch plan to comply with the requirements of that overlay. There's going to be an extensive buffer area to the south adjacent to the interstate. There's some amenity areas planned. You see a playground, a covered patio area with some picnic tables, so some internal sidewalk network. So really want to make this a community-oriented development. On the next slide, we have some illustrative renderings. So I think this will be a fairly unique product. with the garages located on the ground level and living space located on the 2 floors above. So something atypical for this area in Greensboro. Wanted to offer a unique housing type.
Nick, are these in the back or the front? This is still the front? The garages, are they back or front?
They're front-loaded.
Front-loaded.
Yes, yeah. So they would be facing the access roads, the internal access roads.
Wait a minute. These garages are in the front. Is that what you said?
Yes, so the garages will front the access roads.
Okay. Oh, that's not the front door.
Well,
you don't see the front of it.
Yeah, so a lot of these, and you'll see these in Charlotte and some other cities like that, where you'll actually have a stairway access inside of the garage. So the what you call the front door would be on the back side of the house. Probably won't be used all that often, and then most folks would access the upper levels through their garage.
Safety feature.
We did host a neighborhood meeting. Had one property owner attend, along with her tenant. She actually lives south of 85, and so in formulating the notice radius, we're including only a portion of that Randleman Road property north of the interstate in our request, but the entirety of that parcel was used in generating the mailing radius, so it captured several properties south of the interstate, and they were just curious about what was happening south of the interstate. When we told them nothing, then they were okay with it. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yeah, I just want to be clear. I have one. Nick, the entrance for this is going to be off Callumale, so you'll be able to turn off of Randleman. Get off of the Randleman. That's where your entrance is going to be.
Yeah, so we'll have one entrance into the development off of Callumale.
Okay. And the only other thing was, it's close by the interstate. Is there any mitigating factors there?
Yes, so if you'll flip back with me to that sketch plan, you'll see that buffer area highlighted along our southern property line. So that's actually, as part of that scenic corridor overlay, that's going to have to be an undisturbed buffer area. So all the existing vegetation that's in that 50-foot area will remain.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
How many units are there?
So if we were to max out our zoning, we could get 79, I believe. Our current sketch is showing 72.
Good amount. Good look. So you're going to read it?
So I need a motion.
You moved it, I second.
You did?
You did, and I second.
Hugh moved it, and Mrs. Hightower seconded it for H7. And that passes 9-0. I need a statement of consistency for H8.
Okay.
Moved by Mr. Holston.
Yes,
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Hightower.
The Greensboro City Council believes that its action to approve the original zoning request for the properties at 521 Callumale Road and a portion of 3425 Randleman Road from County RS 30 Residential Single Family to City CDRM 12 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 12 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed City CDRM 12 zoning district, as conditioned, permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties, and the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. And then I need another motion with a statement of consistency.
Jamel, you want to move it?
I'd like to move it.
Moved by Ms.
Second.
Pinder, seconded by Mrs. Hightower.
This one.
So you have to read the statement.
I have to get the right paper. The Greensboro City Council believes that its action to approve the original zoning request for a portion of Callumale Road right-of-way from County RS 30 to City RM 12 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 20 comprehensive plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed City RM 12 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on the adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Council, please vote. That passes 9-0. Now we move on to general
Madam Mayor,
business.
I just have to throw in, like Mr. Holston, I'm excited about all these new development, really nice development. This is going to be very nice. So this is what our area is needing, more of. So I hope other developers hear this out loud. This is what we're focused on, enhancing the area. So I'm excited about this one. It's going to have a different look and feel to it, and we need more. Well, thank you for bringing that one.
I just need a second. So, Madam Clerk, my script that I go by, I-1 and I-3 appear to be the same. I think one of them, item I-2 is Mr. Robert's parcel. I think one of those items were probably for Mr. Gray's parcels.
Just one moment, Mayor.
No, not what I have. Okay, yeah, I don't have the latest, I guess. That's quite all right. Okay. Now is the time for consideration of general business. Item I-1 is a 2025-421 resolution calling for a public hearing for June 3rd, 2025 to remove parcels from the Business Improvement District, Parcel 344, Parcel 351, Parcel 466, Parcel 467, Parcel 469, and Parcel 470, and Parcel 471. Those are Mr. Gray's properties. We do have one speaker on this item, Mr. Hartzman.
I'm not sure when it was, since Zach was reelected, but you had a vote on expanding the bid district, and Mr. Matheny recused himself from that vote. I'm wondering why the issue at hand is a complaint against Mr. Matheny for multiple conflicts of interest and the rest of
Mr. Hartzman,
it's
this
in
is Mr. Hartzman, let me just explain something. If you'd stop, thank you for stopping the clock. This is an item to remove parcels from the municipal service district.
Right.
It is not about the management of the service district.
Right.
It is not about DGI. It is about removing parcels from the municipal service district. And this item is strictly to call a public hearing.
Right.
So would you like us to have a public hearing?
So there was a vote in which the city voted to expand the district. And then Mr. Matheny recused himself from that vote. So now you have Mr. Matheny not recusing himself from a vote from someone who wants to decrease the size of the same district. You're good with that? Have a nice night.
So do we have a motion moved by Mrs. Hoffman, seconded by Mrs. Thurm? Council, please vote.
Chuck, do you want to clarify anything? I mean, it's hard to follow, but.
I think the mayor made it clear that this is about properties being removed from the municipal service district. The municipal service district is a permanent district. Who the city chooses to use as its service provider is determined from time to time. And we all have our time here, and then we're gone. So this is permanent. So it's not specifically about the service provider or about you or a complaint or any of that. The statute actually says in order to establish that you have your property be removed, you have to show that basically you don't need the services. And in more detail, it really is like when you guys do zoning and you're looking for the highest and best use of the property. It's, does the property need services? And most downtown properties need the services, but
just to add, just to clarify this, and I think the mayor said it really well, this is for about a public hearing. It has nothing to do with an actual vote. This is just to let people be heard. And so there is no financial anything,
100%.
decrease or increase. This is to say, let's go forward and let people be heard.
Yes.
So I'm going to vote on this.
So, nothing? Did you? Okay. Council, please vote. That passes 9-0. Item I2 is a resolution calling a public hearing for June 3rd, 2025 to remove parcels from the Business Improvement District, Parcel 477. Mr. Hartzman? Again, this is to call a public hearing.
Since 2017-18, you spend $309 million more per year than you did in 2017-18. What's the headline number of the budget? 800 and what?
You'll see in a few minutes.
Okay. You're spending $309 million more dollars per year, every year, than you did in 17-18.
Do we have a moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Dr. Wells? Council, please vote.
It doesn't have to do with the money.
And that passes 9-0. Just a little bit of housekeeping. This general business agenda item, the speakers normally get 3 minutes to speak. I'm going to suggest that we give Mr. Gray and Mr. Robert 5 minutes, whatever speakers they may have for or against would get 3 minutes. This will be the first time that we have done a removal from the Business Improvement District, the MSD, so I would like to make that minor modification. I'm sure that they would like more time, but I think 5 minutes is ample to get your point across. Does that meet with your approval?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now we are going to move on to item I3, which is an ordinance for $3,457,000, 5784, amending the Workforce Innovation Opportunity WIOA Fund for Adult, Youth, and Dislocated Workers allocation provided by the U.S. Department of Labor.
Move the item.
Second.
That was moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Dr. Wells. If there are no questions, council, please vote. And that passes 9-0. And now for the main event. Item I4, a resolution directing the filing with the city clerk of the budget estimate for the fiscal year 2025-26.
Do we get to see it yet? Is it on here?
We should have had the Rocky music playing as he was walking up to
Right.
the podium.
Yeah, right.
Needs a little bumper music.
Need something. Where's my book at? Okay. Where's my book?
The books will be waiting for you once we in your office.
So how do we do this time? We just listen at the manager.
So we are
And
going to let the
then-
manager, and we do have a work session scheduled for Thursday, so that's really the time when,
Fuck this.
Yes.
Okay. Because I was ready for you, but I'll let you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and also to our Greensboro residents. In accordance with the general statutes of North Carolina, and on behalf of our dedicated staff team, it is my honor and privilege to present to you my first recommended budget for the City of Greensboro for fiscal year 2025-26. This proposed budget was developed in full compliance with the North Carolina Local Government Budget and Fiscal Control Act, and represents a fiscally responsible plan that aligns both with our values and community's evolving needs. This proposed budget for FY 2025-26 totals $828 million, reflecting a 3.3% increase over the current year. The general fund budget totals $441 million, which is a 4.6% increase, and I'm pleased to report that this budget is balanced with no increase or no proposed increase to the current property tax rate of 67.25 cents. Over my nearly 30 years in public service, I've learned that how we serve must evolve alongside the needs of our community. Development of this budget presented the difficult task of aligning needs and priorities with the financial backing required to deliver a high quality of service our community both deserves and expects. Recent budget priorities have focused on enhancing employee compensation, making significant investments in key community projects for services and economic development, also implementing necessary program changes to advance our priorities. The budget this year presented some challenges, but I will tell you it also presented some profound opportunities that will continue this focus. I'm proud of how our staff and departments have risen to the challenge, focusing on efficiency, stewardship, and smart prioritization. During this year's annual strategy in February, you all's council reaffirmed critical priorities that shape this proposed budget, which focus on a few areas I want to talk about tonight. prioritizing efficiency, our continued commitment to our employees, ensuring public safety, enhancing our infrastructure, and promoting economic development. These areas that you'll hear me talk about reflect the intersection of community needs, organizational capacity, and also the opportunities that are before us. Again, I'll tell you that this budget maintains a current property tax rate of 67.25 cents with no proposed increase. But still, balancing this budget was not easy. It required hard decisions, careful planning, and a commitment to invest where it counts most, which is in our people, our neighborhoods, and the essential services that shape Greensboro's quality of life. It required careful alignment between what we've identified as the community's needs, council's priorities, and the financial capacity to deliver high quality of services. While we continue to face fiscal challenges, this budget builds on recent progress that supports employee compensation, advancing major community investments, and providing the resources necessary to move key initiatives forward. It is a plan shaped both by constraint and opportunity, one that positions Greensboro for continued growth and resilience. When I talk about prioritizing efficiency, I'll tell you that the first thing that I did was ask every department to review their operations, evaluating staffing, project timing, and service delivery, so that we could maximize the value of every dollar. We limited expenses increases, delayed project costs where possible, and even with extensive review, some additional costs couldn't be avoided so that we could continue to provide the services that must be delivered to our community. This year's budget addresses a $12.8 million rise in costs necessary to maintain current services that include expenses for contract services, technology, utilities, employee benefits. For example, cost of doing business increases $1.8 million for our Axon contract for our police department, which included logistics expenses and several software costs. The transit management contract increased by $1.5 million to expand services like the Crossmax route. Street lights increased by $1.5 million to ensure that our employees were taken care of. Employee retirement and the city's share of employee insurance premiums increased by $3.5 million. Additionally, we've reorganized operations to improve efficiency, streamline delivery, including restructuring certain departments, optimizing resources, allocations, and implementing cost-saving measures across various city functions. Some examples are our new Department of Community Safety that was formed to better coordinate delivery of services in our public safety areas. Solid waste and recycling services have been realigned to improve efficiency and service delivery. A reorganization of our transit department has been implemented to support operational effectiveness and future systems improvements. Our parking enforcement, our community relations, our MWBE office, and others were all reviewed and realigned to ensure for improved coordination. Even with known budget constraints, some program expansions are simply necessary to continue planned improvement and ensure services meet our community's needs. Several service enhancements this year totaled $3.3 million, such as our police department adding 2 victim advocates positions that previously were grant funded. Solid Waste will add 2 heavy equipment operators planned for this year, an additional 2 in next year's budget. Water Resources will add an engineering supervisor to help manage increasing capital projects due to the growth and development that we're experiencing. Many of the city's technology systems are reaching end of life, and this budget continues our commitment to provide support necessary for exceptional service. Technology improvements will help replace some systems that were built in-house over 20 years ago. This will lead to service improvements in areas like our contact center and other departments where customer service is a priority. And yes, we have made reductions. I'll say again, yes, we have made reductions. These decisions were guided by a deliberate focus on prioritization, ensuring that our limited resources are concentrated on programs and services that matter the most to our community. The budget includes reductions and delays and adjustments that total $12.3 million. A hiring freeze will remain in effect for the general fund for FY 25-26, impacting approximately 40 positions. I will tell you that we've identified a process that will allow us to assess critical roles should they need to be exempt from this process. In addition, equipment replacements will be deferred citywide, and major facility improvements have been postponed. These include delays in our police take-home vehicle program, adjustments to some parks and recreation and library operating hours, along with select program modifications. These changes reflect a disciplined approach to protecting Greensboro's core services while navigating ongoing fiscal realities. When we talk about our commitment to our employees, we remain deeply committed to supporting the people who make our city work. This budget reflects that commitment through targeted investments in our workforce. This proposed budget has a 6.7% increase in the minimum wage for all benefit employees, raising the annual starting salary to $41,600, which is $20 per hour. Aligning with long-term work goals, we're identifying a continued path toward $25 an hour within the next 5 years. This year's proposed budget also includes a 4% merit increase for all general employees and a 4% adjustment for step-based classifications. Additionally, you'll see a reclassification of fire engineers. We continue to support talent and recruitment and retention with compensation tools that include bilingual pay, on-call and shift differentials, and certification bonuses and tuition assistance. Also, we have enhanced leave benefits such as bereavement and short-term disability. I'd like you to know that as we continue our commitment to employees that we're not just simply filling vacancies, we're investing in our people, cultivating careers, and strengthening a workforce that keeps Greensboro moving forward. Public safety remains a top priority, and this budget reflects our commitment to investing in the people, tools, and trust that keep Greensboro safe. Our approach is comprehensive, focusing not only on emergency response, but also on prevention, transparency, and community engagement. Key things you'll see in this budget are ongoing support for reopening or renovation of our fire stations that ensure faster response times and broader coverage, expansion of our new Department of Community Safety, building innovative and non-traditional response to communities' needs, technology upgrades, including a new records management system and an enhancement of our real-time public safety tools that support data-driven decision-making. Our neighborhood-centered safety initiatives, such as our traffic safety program, is meant to proactively address risk areas, and our Parks and Recs Department will offer more than 2,000 program opportunities to promote safe, positive community spaces for all ages. These investments underscore a public safety strategy that is people-centered, data-informed, and rooted in strong community partnerships. You've heard me talk a lot about infrastructure, and I have to say that our infrastructure is truly the foundation of our city's growth. We're modernizing that with strategy and sustainability in mind. You'll see key projects like 13.2 miles of water main and 10.3 miles of sewer rehabilitation. You'll see us continue our active $1.1 billion in capital improvement plans, an expansion of our GTA services projected to increase fixed route ridership by 2.6 million and paratransit by 177,000. For example, when we added our crosstown route last year, it provided critical connection points to jobs and resources for more than 50,000 residents. So with the growth and the jobs that are coming to this area, it is incumbent upon us to ensure that we're addressing our needs in transportation. We're also moving forward with Windsor-Tavis-NoCo, our Greenway development. And you also see us have an intentional focus in our areas or corridors where we already have existing efforts, such as Randleman Road, where we've continued to engage with our community and provide updates. Also, you'll see us focus areas like our Eastgate City Boulevard, which is a major corridor into our community. Additionally, we'll reprioritize focus in our East Washington Street corridor, which connects Bennett and North Carolina A&T to our downtown. And maybe you won't see this in our budget, but there are other areas that we'll be focusing on to ensure that we address community needs. As we grow, and this has been a topic of many conversations, we know that housing remains a major challenge, but also we know that it remains to be a major opportunity. This budget maintains a strong commitment to addressing this issue by prioritizing investments that will help meet the growing demand of housing attainability and stabilization of our neighborhoods. We'll continue to support affordable housing bonds, which provide essential funding for development and preservation of housing throughout our city. In addition, we're fully committed to the implementation of the Housing GSO plan through the Nussbaum Fund, which will directly contribute to the creation of housing and support the affordability of housing and support the revitalization of underserved areas. Housing GSO focuses on 4 areas: affordable rental for low-income households, expanding access to home ownership, targeted neighborhood and reinvestment, and supporting housing for vulnerable populations. Since its launch, this initiative has helped over 1,400 housing units, supported 40,000 individuals with direct services, and provided over 500 home ownership grants. Current efforts include launching the Community Land Trust, expanding neighborhood studies, and developing new housing prototypes. And as we continue to collaborate internally, at its midpoint, Housing GSO is realigning with the Road to 10,000 and updating its strategies using new data, planning tools, and a forthcoming housing dashboard. Furthermore, we're leveraging American Rescue Plan funds specifically dedicated to housing and neighborhood stabilization. These funds are critical resources that will allow us to continue addressing the immediate needs for our community while investing in long-term solutions that will strengthen neighborhoods. Together, these investments ensure that our long-standing communities can thrive alongside the city's ongoing development and growth, creating a balanced and inclusive future for all of Greensboro. As we talk about growth, Greensboro continues to be a destination for investment and innovation. Since 2023, we've seen a surge in commercial and residential permitting, and this budget supports continued business growth and corridor revitalization. The Road to 10,000 housing units seeks to address the need for housing that has emerged amidst Greensboro's recent growth. We're targeting support for projects that bring not just jobs, but equity and sustainability. We will roll out an infill revitalization project that will incentivize economic development focused on areas that have seen challenges in growth. We will continue to work closely with partner agencies to sustain the acceleration of Greensboro's economic growth, and we're investing in the workforce pipeline, especially our youth employment and job readiness programs. As we summarize this budget, our total budget is $828 million, which is a $26 million or 3.3% increase. As you see, personnel costs account for 42% of total expenses, growing from $338 million to almost $343 million. Employee benefits increased $3.5 million due primarily to an increase required for employer retirement contributions and projected healthcare costs. Maintenance and operations, which include debt service and transfers to other funds, increased to $457.2 million, or 5.5%, primarily due to cost of doing business increases, including, as I noted before, contract services, utilities, and water operations and transfers to other funds. Our total revenues increased from $802 million to $828 million, or 3.3%. Property tax increases by 2.8 or by more than 7 million. Asset valuations is projected to be more than 40 billion, and the budget assumes stable growth, just over 2%, which also have continued to see rate collection rates higher than 99% over the last several years. Sales tax revenue is projected at almost 91 million for FY 25-26, at a modest 1.3% increase, reflecting slower statewide growth trends and distribution impacts tied to changes in county tax rates. Our intergovernmental revenues increased by just less than 5 million to 61 million, driven by higher utility tax, sales taxes, and power bill funds, despite a decline in ABC-related distributions. User fee revenues led by a 9.6% average rise in water resources fees to support our system needs, as well as an additional increase in our solid waste and parking rates. In closing, Mayor and Council, I will say to you that this budget meets the moment. It reflects a disciplined approach to spending, strategic investments in our people, our neighborhoods, and our infrastructure, and a commitment to fiscal responsibility and public trust. This is not a budget for short-term headlines, but a budget built to deliver long-term results. Our upcoming work sessions, as you all talked about earlier, will provide the opportunity to dive deeper into the details of these topics you've heard me talk about tonight, and provide council with the necessary context to make informed decisions and, of course, ask clarifying questions in some areas and explore potential adjustments. These sessions are a critical part of the collaborative budget process and ensure alignment with the city's financial plan and council strategic priorities. The public hearing on recommended budget is scheduled for June 3rd, with the final budget adoption plan for June 17th, allowing time for public input and any final revisions before the start of the new fiscal year. And once again, I want to thank our dedicated staff who have diligently worked on this budget over the past several months, identifying needs, especially our budget team, who have been creative and found ways to accommodate the needs and had a collaborative nature that has been very refreshing. Mayor and Council, I want to thank you for your guidance and your support. Also, I want to take a moment to say thank you to the many leaders that are here tonight or that are watching. I know a few are out of town, but without them, what you saw tonight and the collaboration would not be possible. And a big shout out to the more than 3,300 employees we have working for the City of Greensboro that make this place what it is every day. Together, we're growing smarter, we're protecting what matters, and we're investing in the future of a city that works for everyone. Mayor and Council, this is now your budget. We look forward to engaging in very robust discussions so that we can make this budget better together. Thank you.
We do need a motion to direct the clerk to file the budget. Do I have a motion on? Moved by Mr. Holston, seconded by Dr. Wells. Council, please vote. So I'm sure that we all have comments about what we just saw. I would ask that we hold them for Thursday, and we will get to all of those comments, and then we'll, because I have a few of my own, and one thing that
I got a bunch.
It will be a little challenging for me, but let's talk about it on Thursday.
So I haven't voted.
Will we get a copy of Trey's presentation?
Yes, you will.
Along with the presentation, along with the notebook?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
More of a summary, so we know. But
has that passed? Has everybody voted?
No, because I haven't voted yes yet. So if I vote no, not to file it, does that stop?
Well, this is just to file the budget. This is.
Yeah, because I ain't happy.
And that passes 9-0. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, Madam Mayor. So would it be possible that prior to that, we could ask staff to have some information about a few of these things? For instance, what we might be going to discuss. For instance, I'd like to know how many take-home cars are in the lot over at Patton. I'd like to know how much in ARPA funds are still left, and are those all designated? Just things like that, that I'm sure many of us will have questions about.
Yeah, I think if you have questions, send them to Trey and copy all of us so that we're not recopying your questions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
because
good.
I thought we were just going to wait till Thursday. But I mean, we all got questions, so I don't want to just start pointing out things, and we already starting out wrong here by pointing
Yeah,
out
so if
police and fire stuff.
Well, I'm allowed to
Already.
speak just like everybody else.
Well,
so.
I am too, but I think if the mayor said wait,
I
then I
said
think we should wait. But
I won't belabor it, but I said if we have questions about things like that,
So,
shouldn't we go ahead and
yes,
send
if
those
we
to
would
you?
send them to the city manager. Mr. Holston?
Madam Mayor, just a more generic question. Will a copy of this recommended budget be posted online?
Yes, we will have a media release, and then we'll continue to post as what we presented tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Something will be posted tomorrow. And just so you know, we have our work sessions laid out so that you can have a view of what you saw in the general fund, and we have a schedule that we'll provide for you, and Larry will help me do that in the coming days. But as you all send me information, I know that there are questions we prepared for a lot of the questions. We anticipate what you may have, but we'll have all those prepared for you in the work sessions.
Thank you. Okay, that is the end of our printed agenda. Mrs. Hightower, any boards or commissions?
No, thank you. No.
Mr. Holston? Mr. Matheny? Mrs. Hoffman?
Yes, I'd like to reappoint Jim Gallion to the ABC board.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
No, none this evening.
Dr. Wells? Mrs. Cern?
Related to boards and commissions, I think we, as a group, need to vote on the participatory budgeting. It's not on these reports. We've never decided to close it. We're just kind of ignoring it, and we need to make a decision on that. So I would like for us to do that sometime.
Yeah, let's try to clean that up maybe by our next meeting. Okay. Ms. Finder? Okay. Council comments. We'll start with Jamil.
So I just want to this is new, so I just want to understand, at our work session on Thursday, we'll be able to have a deep dive of everything that we talked about and all of the questions that we have now to direct them to Trey, and then during work session, we will be able to go deeper with those.
Yeah, and I think the idea was to at least let Trey know what the trigger points are in the budget, and if he needs to have information for us, he can have it at the meeting.
Okay. And then the other comment, I know you mentioned, I don't want to mention what you said, but we talked about the corridors. And so I know lately a lot of constituents have asked about cleanup on Random Road, Summit Avenue, things of that nature. So I know with some of the corridor cleanups, the Renaissance, some in traffic signals, some of those things will be discussed during the budget.
There are some things that we'll discuss that may be advanced in the budget, but we also still maintain a focus on some things that we may need to do in the community. I think there could be some things that are outside of the budget that we can have those discussions with you as we go along.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stern?
I would just like to thank everybody that was involved in today's memorial service. It was quite moving and something that was very meaningful for the families, the community, and I know for those of us that attended. So thank you for that. I'd also like to thank the city manager for proposing this budget with no rate increase. It's something that we all talked about. You heard our message loud and clear, and I appreciate that.
Dr. Wells?
I'd like to say that 4 of us was it five? Four of us that attended the L. Richardson Memorial Historic Road Marker was unveiled on Thursday. And it was what? 5 of us were there? Okay, 5 of us were there. And it was opened, the L. Richardson Memorial Hospital was opened in 1927 to serve black patients during the Jim Crow era. And it had nursing school, and now, you know, it's on the corner of Benbow Road and, what's the name of those, McConnell? Is it McConnell Road? McConnell and Benbow. And so I think that's where the mark is going to be, but it was a very nice historical event that Dr. Alvin Powell spearheaded the committee, and I'm so pleased that he did that, because there were times when black folk could not go to the hospitals in the towns in North Carolina, and I know there were 2 down in Eastern Carolina that we had. But up here, L. Richardson started with a group of, I think they said 24 people who came together with their funds, and then L. Richardson, who was the one who started the Vicks vapor rub, gave a large amount of money, so that's why it was named L. Richardson Memorial. So we thank Dr. Powell and his committee. Also, I attended a congratulatory reception for Benita Curtin, who is now the director of the Interactive Resource Center, IRC. So they're off to a good start. So we want to thank her for that. I also went to Family and Friends Day at Laughlin Memorial Sunday. It was nice to see a lot of people, but Laughlin Memorial, when we were fighting the landfill, they opened their doors for all of our meetings. We had all of our meetings, you know, at Laughlin Memorial. So I was glad to be able to be with Reverend Dr. Carl Manuel and that congregation. So I thank them for the community service that they've done for the District 2. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, thank you, and it really was a moving memorial today for the Police Memorial Week, and also last Saturday I was able to come downtown just for a few minutes. The Charlotte Police, all of the motorcycles were going through Greensboro last Saturday on their way to D.C., and I understand that the officers from Greensboro, and I know the chief and several others probably in this room, went to the Washington Memorial Week, so in Washington, D.C. So just think of all the families and everyone who was there. You know, it really is touching and emotional to see the families. I know the Winslows were there today. John Franks and his wife were there today. And, of course, Kelly Nixon family were there today. So, you know, it kind of hits home when we see them there. My other comment was just that, you know, many of us were at the send-off for Mary Jo Cagle, stepping down as CEO of Cone Health, and it was a very nice event over at Tanger, and Mary, you did a good job, and several of the others did a good job. Let's see, I think, and the L. Richardson, of course, that was absolutely amazing, and I did drive by and see the memorial up, and it looks great in front of the hospital, so I encourage everyone to go by there and see it. It's very striking and well-deserved for the L. Richardson Hospital. So that's it from me, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Mrs. Hoffman?
Yeah, I'm reminding, and I think I've heard you say several times, Chief, often when you're talking to neighborhood groups, one of the things that comes up is people concerned about speeding and running red lights. And, you know, I was at Greensboro Bound, the book festival, on Saturday, and a couple of people came up to me to speak about that. And then someone called me both yesterday and today, you know, about this very issue. I just want, I guess in terms of, you know, if you prioritize, where does that come? But it's something that every citizen in this city sees every day. So to the extent that there's some way maybe of addressing it somehow in the future, I think we have only 3 of these traffic monitoring devices that we move around. And, I know we can't have people out giving traffic tickets all the time, but it is a concern that gets, I hear it every week. So I'm just putting that out there for a thought process.
Well, I would say, Ms. Hoffman, we're supposed to be getting red light cameras, and I don't know where they are.
Well, they're not up yet, but I know they've got the locations, but I don't believe they're up yet. And I don't know, are we still working with the school system?
No, they're not up yet, but that part we can work through later. But we're still working through our RFPs for the right vendor. But I'll get you an update as we go through these processes. But that is still in the works.
Mr. Matheny?
Sounded like it started raining out there tonight, so yes, here, I'll say some things. You're right. Being at the National Law Memorial event today, it's especially with knowing what our departments have gone through the last few years, and seeing the families. And I saw an old friend that lost her brother many years ago, and she sent me a note, thanking me for being there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, thank the women and men that do what they do every day. And so, everybody, it's a week, but it's more than a week. It should be every day that we thank the folks that protect us. In particular, because it's been hard the last few years to do that and wear that badge and have to wear a gun to work. Sometimes when I come to city council, I feel like I should wear a gun to work, but I'm a little too scared to do that. And so thank you, and that includes 911 and fire, and especially GPD and EMS and others, the Sheriff's Department and everybody else. It's hard making decisions to manage a city. It's hard to make decisions and have a manager who we all believe in, and is capable of running it with what is a great staff. And I know we're going to have some emotionally challenging conversations Thursday. Jamila, welcome to the party. But it is challenging. But there's a lot of positive things out there that are going on. And I do agree with you, speeding. I met with a blighted property on Fiscal Church and the Dollar Tree. I'll call it out because they came up. They admitted that it was blighted. And another property, 1700 Lawndale Battleground. I got to figure out which one it is. You're going to get an email from me about that, Gary. It's an old Rite Aid or CVS store now I'm short, so it's not saying much, but the grass is taller than me. And in spite of that, tomorrow evening, we're going to cut a ribbon on a brand new heart and vascular center. And that's really cool that we're going to be continuing leading edge of healthcare in not only North Carolina, but the Southeast. And I've got friends that, make sure that they go to Cone Health and the heart and vascular team for their needs. And you think about that, you think about some of the other exciting things that are coming up, that could come up, the things that we celebrated. I hate seeing Sean Suggs retire. I think it's June 6th from Toyota, but think about what we have in Toyota. Mayor, you mentioned Publix not too long ago. I took that tour. I had a big jacket on. There's a lot of jobs out there. And I think, there'll be more to come around the airport. There'll be more to come around Toyota. selfishly thinking of downtown, we're going to have some very exciting announcements in the next 3 to 4 weeks that are job related, tax base related. And so just in a world that we live in today that feels so negative, there is a tremendous amount to be positive about. We've accomplished a lot of things the last 12 months. We're going to accomplish a lot more until November, whatever happens. But I commend everybody up here on this dais for the work that they put into the job that, quite frankly, is oftentimes thankless. And to our staff, Mr. Davis, you did a good job putting together a budget. I know it's tough. Wear some thick skin on Thursday. But I think together we're going to be all right. It's going to be all right. We'll work together. So thank you for your hard work and your team.
Hugh?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll say that over the past couple of weeks, I've had the honor to attend the Warnersville Southside reunion, which I know that Sharon's going to talk more about, so I'm not going to talk a lot about it. Oh, no, Sharon, it's all yours. But it was a wonderful event. Here I go. I'm talking about it now, aren't I? Great attendance and just really outstanding engagement from that community. Their 14th reunion for Southside and the 160th anniversary of the heritage of Warnersville. Also, I want to thank Dr. Alvin Powell. It's been mentioned earlier, but that marker for Ella Richardson. My wife was born in Ella Richardson, and to hear the hard truths about Ella Richardson kind of hits you in the face. You think of a hospital, you think of a wonderful place of healing, and it hasn't always been that way. So thank you again to Dr. Alvin Powell and his wife Tracy Powell for spearheading that entire effort, culminating in that wonderful marker that's been placed already at Ella Richardson. Last evening, I had the opportunity to attend the inaugural Recovery Network Cafe Gala for those who are challenged in our community. They had a wonderful gala down at First Baptist Church on Lawndale. It was very simple, but it was very complex at the very same time. It was an outpouring of support from all across this community. And I know that they appreciated it, and I know that Pastor Vicki McCain and Frank Dew and Paula and Bernard, Tony, they put on a tremendous event, and looking forward to them having support in the community and then even maybe even expanding some of their services into the future. When it comes to the budget, Mr. City Manager, thank you for presenting this recommended budget that we'll have an opportunity to tear apart and do all kinds of wonderful things with it. You know, me and housing, though, I'm very excited seeing that the team initiative is in the budget. I don't know the numbers yet, haven't seen it. I have to go run back to my desk and get the booklet itself, but just excited that with the challenges that are going on in our community, the challenges of whether it's the wealth gap or whether it's all other kinds of gaps, that folks who are suffering from eviction will continue to have some representation and some protection when it comes to standing up in court and trying to keep that roof over their heads, which is so critical. Next to last, I want to say those two items that were on our agenda tonight, one on Rehobeth Church and the other on Callumale. And Sharon said it earlier, but those are seminal moments for the community, for that community. We talked about the investment, we talked about the infrastructure, talked about lifting up. It's going to be important that each of our districts in Greensboro looks like all of Greensboro, and this is a step towards that. So we're very excited to see that. And then finally, I just want to say for everyone for this upcoming weekend, please be safe. Please take care of yourselves as we honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for us on Memorial Day. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Sharon?
Thank you very much, Mayor. So I won't lift up Warnersville, but we attended, and it was a very well attended, great event for Warnersville Southside Reunion. When you go there, everything feels just like family. So we were there. I think Mary Kay, Jamila, you, of course, myself, and I think we all ate our share. And that was very good. That was, well, maybe you ate more of your share. Also, congratulations to L. Richardson on their marker, recognizing them as the first African-American hospital in the city. But even greater still is who came out of that hospital, and that was the doctors who sued Cone to integrate health care in this city. So thanks to Dr. Alvin Blunt, who's gone, Dr. Evans, and others who did that. And so today health care has improved in our community. We still have a ways to go with a lot of it, but they made, to me, the ultimate sacrifice, because they could have very well been their lives, their families' lives, but they tackled something that they knew was the right thing to do. And so it was an honor to be there, and just to hear those stories about those doctors and what they did. We just don't realize what our past is really truly like, and to have it tried to be whitewashed today is very disturbing. We need to continue to celebrate the people who have also contributed to this country and made this world a better place for what it is today. So I think that event was great. I also want to ask some clarity, Mr. City Attorney, on MWBE goal setting, because I challenged you on the information that I saw on the agenda today. But I'd like to get a full training again from Griffin and Strong, because to me, goal training is not being applied the way it should be. And they've trained and come before, but it's not being implemented accurately. So I would like to see that happen, because while, yes, we may have changed our name to the Office of Business Opportunity, we still need to understand why that is and what needs to happen there. So while we may have changed the words, the mission, the purpose, and the goal is not changed. It is still the same, to make sure that people who don't get a fair chance get that opportunity. And that's what that office is for. So I would like for us to make sure that that is a message that goes across this organization as well, and that training, that we get that again, even however you want to look at doing that. So I'm requesting that from you as well. Yes, we stopped by and saw Benita at the IRC. She is a phenomenal leader. She has already turned that place around. You can walk in and you feel a difference there. And so congratulations to her on being the director. Great choice. It was great to stop by, see her. Left there, went and congratulated Mary Jo Cagle, who is retiring as the CEO of Cone. And I wanted to personally thank her for ensuring that Cone contributed to the Windsor-Chavis NOCO. It's an awesome partnership that we have all created there, from the county to the private partnerships and to the money that we have invested in the Windsor-Chavis. And to speak to Windsor-Chavis, it is coming down. If you ride by it, the middle of it is gone. They are demolishing it as we speak. Well, not right this minute, but it is being demolished. And so I'll speak to that quite briefly when we talk about the budget. I do not want to see Parks and Rec hours reduced because we're losing a Parks and Rec facility. Yes, we'll gain one in 2 years, but right now we're losing one, in the inventory and in critical areas of need and usage and service, and do not want to see us reduce hours that will impact our youth and our programming in Parks and Rec. So that will be one of the things I will bring up in the budget, because I think that we need to show priority where priority is, and that's investment in our citizens, in the community, particularly underserved. And so we got to be equitable in that. I understand you want to get the budget balanced. We don't want a tax increase. But I think we really need to show investment in the people that we continue. We thank them when the weather's bad, but we don't show it where it counts the most. And a lot of our workers can't live in the city because they can't afford it, or they're working 2 and 3 jobs. And we need to really think about how we want to invest in our employees, truly invest in our employees, and not just one population of employees. So that is my concern for the budget. I appreciate your efforts. I know it's not easy and everything, but we have to make sure that we do things fair and in an equitable manner. Cannot be our priority, and then we don't apply it. So I just want to say that. And happy Memorial Day to everyone. Thank you. And thank you for your condolences. I did lose my first cousin, who was the whole rock of the family. We don't know what to do right now. But thank you for your condolences. I appreciate it. I'll be going home the weekend. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Jenny Cavanis. She put together a great event today. It went off seamless, and she does that often, and I don't know that we recognize her publicly. So I do want to say thank you for the police memorial work that she did today. You know, since I've been mayor, we've lost three officers: Jared Franks, Dale Nix, and Mike Horan. And those are really hard losses to take. I want people to think about what it's like to be a police officer every day. Sharon, you and I were at the press conference. Mary Kay, you were there. And at the end of the press conference at Douglas Park, there were 2 individuals who were shot. One was a little boy, 4 years old. He was shot 3 times. And then an adult who was also shot. But this person, I believe, shot indiscriminately into the park. And it just so happened that there was some police that had done a traffic stop, and they heard the shots, and they went running towards the shots. And this gentleman, Sharon, that you and I spoke to, was just so in awe about how, while everybody else was ducking for cover, that these police officers were running towards the bullets. They went right toward the injured people. And that's what police do day in and day out. And it was really, we were very fortunate that that did not turn into a mass shooting incident. And due to the really quick work of 911, our police department, our neighborhood community, that person was picked up within a few hours. And he is sitting in the jail right now with a bond of over $1 million. And I want to recognize our Deputy City Attorney, Laura Cubbage. She spoke at the first appearance, and she did a masterful job really outlining what happened that day at the park, but more importantly, talking about the background of this individual whose street name was Menace. And he has that tattooed on his body, and so he is proud of his name. And he just got out on a $45,000 bail on May 8th. And here it was a week later, he shoots up a park. This guy got out on a $45,000 bond. He had at least 4 pages of charges.
And Mayor,
he was a
shot
felon.
up a house on the May 8th. He shot up a house. Remember?
You know, I know that our judges, our DAs, they do the best that they can do. But I really think that they have to look at bail, and for this person to be out on a $45,000 bond on a gun charge, and he's a felon. So I hope that that sends a message to our partners, and they are our partners, our judges, our DAs, that we really have to look at a person's character when we decide if they're going to reoffend. So I'm glad that Laura was there, and she was really able to outline this person's history, and I think it made an incredible difference, and he was given a $1 million bond. I do think people have lost their collective minds when it comes to speeding. And, you know, that is something that is control of everybody. I mean, you can decide not to speed. I think it's really interesting, and I think the police chief would back me up on this, that when they do speed checks, the majority of people are speeding in their own neighborhoods. And that is something that I think as a city we all have to look at. I saw two things that happened within the last 24 hours that absolutely blows my mind. I was on my way home, and the light turned red. So the person in front of me, this was at Battleground in Westridge, drove over the median and into Chipotle, and then drove over another median to go down Westridge. And I'm telling you, I wanted to make a citizen's arrest. I wanted to speed after that person and say, like, what are you thinking of? But people are doing, like, I thought that was crazy. And then today I was coming down West Friendly, and there was a landscaper who was leaving a person's house and drove over the median to go down Friendly. I mean, I don't know what it is with people driving over medians, but, you know, I would just ask our residents, please slow down, obey the rules. It's really, really simple. If you want to be a good person, then just follow the traffic rules. So stop at red lights. Yes, and yellow doesn't mean speed up. So I think that is something that is in everybody's power to make an impact. And if you know somebody who maybe has a lead foot, let's not joke about it. Let's call them out on it. You know, we have 1,100 miles of residential streets. That's not even our major streets. We can't have police officers on every street. 1,100 miles? How many police officers would that take? I mean, that would be an awful lot. So we have to count ourselves. We have to count on our community. So that is kind of my soapbox for tonight. We talked about sidewalks, and I want to bring something up. We're still watching that bill 875. If 875 passes, developers will not have to do sidewalks, which will then put it on us. We have to look at all those little Easter eggs that are hidden in this bill, because it's going to have a dramatic impact on what development looks like, and it will take the voice of the people away from the process. So we need to continue to watch that. And lastly, Q, who has been one of our great employees in the clerk's office, will be leaving us tomorrow, but he's going home. Q, we wish you the best. We've enjoyed working with you. Godspeed. So. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I just wanted to say one very quick thing. The police department has an amazing way of getting neighborhoods to have more contact with the police when there's people running red lights and stop signs, and it was really working. It's the traffic complaints line, and that's 336-373-SLOW, and it's also traffic complaints. There's two C's, traffic complaints at greensboro-nc.gov. I have two neighborhoods that are using that, and it is working. The officers go out there within a day or so, start monitoring, and I've seen a lot of tickets written. So if the public could start using that, it really does work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Hoffman?
I've also found if all of us will drive the speed limit on our city streets, it slows down everybody else. It really deters them. So if we just do our part, it's really helpful.
Ms. Hoffman, if you can tell me where that works, because when I drive the speed limit, they pass me in the turning lane, they cut over me. So I'm driving the speed limit. They're ignoring it.
No, Mr. City Manager, you have anything?
I've said enough.
Mr. City Attorney?
So have I.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Saying that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, we are adjourned. Thank you.